Hello, you are watching the latest edition of DBE TV News. This bulletin is every Friday on OpenView channel 122 at 12 in the afternoon. Or you can catch it on Bricks TV channel 509 Starset every Friday at 4:30 in the afternoon. Or just watch it on the Department of Basic Education's YouTube channel. Welcome. My name is Tsegohajo Moagi. The top stories this week. Basic Education Minister Angie Motshekga visits KwaZulu-Natal. Our main focus for this bulletin will be in that province. The minister visits the province to assess the damage to over 630 schools that have been affected by the floods. We also bid farewell and mourn a KZN young teacher who lost his life when his house collapsed on him during the torrential rains. SATU, the South African Democratic Teachers Union, they have launched a flood relief initiative to assist those who need assistance during this time. And we then speak to a principal who tells us about how they achieved great results despite the challenges they faced. Let's start here. Basic Education Minister Angie Motshekga was in KwaZulu-Natal as she visited schools following the damage that was caused by the heavy torrential rains in the province. More than 630 schools were affected by flooding and more people are still missing. We do understand that about 62 learners have lost their lives because of these floods. Before, of course, her visit to the various schools, Minister Motshekga was given a briefing as to what the situation looks like in KwaZulu-Natal.
We're expected, Nanti, as a sector, between myself and yourself and your team, to say, yes, here are the schools. And I'm glad that we have worked the plan. Any expenditure under 500,000 in beauty at the school, which schools are outside that category and what are we going to do with them? Because what we have done with the national state of disaster, we can bring our own engineers so that we don't have extra costs so which means we deploy teams from national. In the flight, I was with the head of the Presidential Infrastructure Coordinating Team. So I said to him, I'll meet after I've spoken to you. So you have to guide us to say, yes, we have worked out. These are the schools that are going to do minor repairs. So the President wants a detail. These are the schools of the 600. These are the ones who are going to respond to what is outstanding. Is it furniture? Where are we going to get furniture? Are we going to buy furniture? What are the things we're going to do specifically? In books, with books. Provinces, your colleagues, have been pledging support to say what are the things we can do as provinces. And I said to them, what we also don't want to do is to be running logistics. Okay, if it's outside KZN, it should come only if we can't find it in KZN. As far as possible, people must give us resources.
Motshekga also then explained the purpose of her visit to the province.
So you could say, no, I need a team going to do this assessment, I need a team to do the following. Then we can go to the Presidential Coordinating Team to say, they need structural engineers, they need QS, they need the whole team to complement the provincial team, and I'm glad that we have a deadline to say 3 weeks we want everything settled. So we can say to President, we're working backwards. By 3 weeks we want everything clear. So if they're giving us engineers, they must come next week. If there's going to be help, so this must happen. So that we really have deadlines, because as the leader of SATU is saying, it's quite sad to see kids in those makeshift camps not going to schools. And I'm terrified that we took ECD 3 weeks back. So which means it's on our shoulders to see what is happening to those kids. We'll work with social development, but it has become our main responsibility. So what are the things we're going to do? Are we going to approach clothing companies to say we need clothes for children? And again, as I said, preferably it's either the company brings a truckload, but we don't want to work logistics. Logistic company doesn't 10 parcels there, then drive them to KZN, and we don't know where they're going to come. It's just not going to work. But just bear in mind that even those kids now become our responsibility.
During the briefing session, there were various stakeholders in the room to also give the minister an understanding of what they have seen on the ground. Here's Satu's Nomarashia Kaluza.
There was no way that we rest when our teachers and learners are trapped in a school and had to sleep there. We want to appreciate the leadership, MEC, HOD, and other government departments in the province, that at least we worked together, and at the end we're there at the Virginia airport to receive our teachers and help them, teachers and learners, with counseling secured through engagement. Pakati Department I3 and ourselves as SATU. Secondly, as communities have been displaced, or families have been displaced to these community halls, Nasematindin. As I'm saying, we are trying to be part of the solution. We've been on the ground. You go there at Satu House, you'll see the kitchen there that we're operating so that we feed these people, because we cannot wait for the government to do everything, even when we feel that we can do something. What we are finding there, in all these halls that we have visited, supplying lunch and dinner, there are a lot of children, school-going age, and that pains us.
Brettonwood High School, located in central Durban, is one of the worst affected schools. It is located in Umbilo, to be specific. Now, they have lost their science and computer labs. The admin block has been completely destroyed, and all records of the school have been damaged. Minister Angie Motshekga visited the school to assess and to witness the damage for herself. However, she then found that it was still inaccessible. Minister Motshekga was joined by MEC Kwazim Shengu and other stakeholders within the basic education sector in the province. Stay tuned. When we return, we continue our focus on the KwaZulu-Natal province.
I am a nurturer, like you.
Real men stand against gender-based violence.
I get hurt, like you.
If I am a victim of violence, I too will not be ashamed to report violence and abuse.
I hate it when someone violates me, like you.
In a violent situation, there is power in walking away. I will not take part in fights at school.
All I want is to feel safe, to feel loved, and to be free to show love, like you.
I cry when I'm hurt, because to feel is to be human. I pledge to be more open about my emotions.
Make it part of the new normal for young boys to be nurtured and loved, to freely express themselves and to show love in a safe, inclusive way. We have different gender identities, but first, we are human. If you need assistance to help your child, contact Childline on 08000 55 555.
Isipose Primary School, located in Ntuzuma in the north of Durban, was burnt in July during the unrest of 2021. Now, in 2022, the school has been severely damaged due to the floods that ravaged the KwaZulu-Natal province. The school was meant to be repaired by the National Education Collaboration Trust. A contractor has already been allocated to start the repairs to the school.
So I was saying to principal that too many mobile classes at the back. So even in terms of management of the school, to be better if it was in the one place and other things. So I'm not sure what we can do to alter or to improve the plans. But I'm happy that we'll probably have a staff room quite soon. Most of our teachers have degrees, so are well qualified, so we want them to work in smart spaces. And in spaces which really take care of their dignity, their professional standing, And I'm really looking forward to this staff room being done as quick as possible. I'm told they are appointing a final contractor because we also instruct the people we work with to say, Mano Wakenda, when you use the local people there. Because more colleagues as needed, just anyway. So the very people who built those houses should be used to build any infrastructure we have. But I'm told that's what delayed a little for us to appoint a contractor, but I think they will be ready to start principal, and I think he'll supervise the so you'll monitor and supervise for us.
MEC Kwazim Shengu had this to say about the extent of the damage to the school.
We thank you for being with us during the disaster, but for being with us throughout, because without you there's no education. Without you there's no future. We can't have a nation that is full of uneducated people. Otherwise we'll be a nation run by criminals. So we thank you. We have noted some of the challenges at school. I think we need to attend into our prefabs. There are too many. So we need to replace them with brick and mortar at least. So I think, Minister, what we can commit from our side. So the good thing about being an MEC, we are kuluma bes we are but we need to find a way of assisting the school. It's quite a big school with big enrollment. Our prefabs, we normally use them really for emergency purposes. They can't be a permanent feature as schooling. So I think this is one of school we need to prioritize in terms of helping it to be a school really that no teacher bangayiqhenya ukusebenzini uthi ngiyeschooling yabona. Akumnandi ukuvuka uthi sofundisa kodwa uyongena kwi-prefab. So just like Natis Vuasithi office, we want you to come motivated with ngeschooling because it's a school that is really fit for purpose and attracting for you as well as it has to be.
The Basic Education Department and the KZN Education Department are mourning the passing of a teacher who died during the floods in KwaZulu-Natal. 31-year-old Tobelani Dlamini died after his house collapsed on him, burying him under the rubble. He was found a few hours later after being swept away by the heavy rains that hit KwaZulu-Natal. This is what has been said about his loss.
Umphakathi sihlala kuwona ngqongqoshe umphakathi oswele ngalendlela. Iclass lakhe nali lapha ya. Une birthday chat odongeni. Ingane zakhe esayi-EEA, ingane zakhe uma izalwa ubethenga slabs of chocolate, athenge what do we call this, lamaphakethe lawa amahle, abhale ngecomputer ngoba be very good ke ekusebenziseni icomputer. Afike nayo uze kuculwa happy birthday classini. Some of leza ingane indaba ye birthday into ezifunda encwadini but yena he went all out. Njengamanje ezikoleni ayisekho imali yokuthenga upolish, but bethenga amakhandlela no paraffin. Bathi mabebuza abanye bethi bazocela imali kumina, athi hayibo kanina niyobonga ngani ukuthi niyasebenza khona abantu abangasebenzi. He was that kind of a teacher obe siza ngendlela emangalisayo.
As a sector, we've really suffered very devastating effects of this crisis. And I know in the statistics, we do say we've lost a teacher. I didn't know that we'll be able to come to a school where we've lost one of us who is a teacher. And I'm sure it's her colleagues, it should still be affecting you. But thank you very much for keeping the school going, staying strong, and making sure that we work as hard as we can to make sure that life goes on. I'm grateful I see the workers selling dust because life has to go on. Life has to go on. So already I don't have lots of words to say, I wish I had, but to really express our most sincere condolences as a sector, as government, and to her family, if you pass our message to her family, General Mutolo. Yeah, so and I really don't have words. I just feel very sad to lose a teacher. I mean, it's such an investment.
After this short break, we find out more about how the South African Democratic Teachers Union is playing their part to assist those in need.
So the Teddy Bear Foundation renders services to victims of child abuse and their families, providing psychosocial support and medical legal support. It is critical that children are provided with this opportunity of returning to schools. A lot of them are suffering as a result of COVID-19, the unintended consequences of COVID-19, the deprivations that children are subjected to. We're looking at where previously children had access to feeding schemes. Now children are facing starvation, so that's a deprivation. Many children are presenting with increased levels of anxiety, fear, confusion, trauma, and a lot of other mental health conditions. The reality is that children are going to be infected regardless of wherever they are. The vector of transmission one needs to realize is that it's adult on child and not child on adult. COVID exists everywhere. It's within the home environment, within the surrounding areas. Less children have died of COVID-19. What we are faced with is that more children are going to be dying of starvation and food nutrition and food security.
More than 100 schools cannot be accessed in KZN following those heavy rains in the province. Minister Angie Motshekga, together with the MEC in KwaZulu-Natal for Education, Kwazim Shengu, we used a chopper to get an aerial view of the situation of these schools. So, what did they see from the skies?
Our focus was on inaccessible schools, where our learners and our teachers can't access schools because of damaged roads. And indeed, it's a very precarious and dangerous situation. We wouldn't want to insist that they must come back until there are safer roads. So the province will have to work with the circuits and districts to say, in the meantime, whilst we are waiting for those roads to be fixed, how do we continue the school nutrition? How do we even continue with learning and teaching where we can? So we have agreed with the MEC that by next week we should come with a comprehensive program of how we deal with inaccessible schools.
Well, firstly, we were strengthened by the presence of the minister under these circumstances. We have visited quite a number of areas to assess the damages, but also to try and devise solutions for schools that are affected, including those that cannot be accessed by educators in the main. So the work continues. There's no rest for us, but with the communication lines as opened by the minister, we are hoping that we'll be able to get things to normalize at least in about 3 weeks' time. But obviously we'll be working on both short-term and long-term solutions, working with other departments, particularly Department of Transport, because we've seen quite a number of schools that are not accessible because of damages in roads and bridges. So we are quite confident that we will be able to get things right. We just have to work together and plead with our communities to be patient also. We know these are frustrating times, but working together is what will lead us to our intended objective.
Following this visit, a plan has been put in place and a team of experts has been sent to KZN to assist with recovery efforts. Gangnam Secondary School continues to produce excellent results despite the challenges that they have faced. The school has not been spared during the storms in KZN, and in the recent floods of 2022, the school was also one of those that has been damaged. Despite all odds, with classrooms being swept away, the staff room being damaged and being unable to accommodate learners, the school managed to produce a 98% pass rate in the 2021 matric year. Let's listen what the principal has had to say.
as Usotobe has indicated, we were actually affected. The profile that I made indicates that the staff room we are in, where teachers then have to perform to their best, it is in such a situation. And every material that is on tables get wet when it is the rainy season. All the machines that we have to make sure that we cover the machines every time we go in anticipation of the rain. Sizobona ngale emaklasini damage eyenzekile. The roof is not on its position. Isiphakeme uma ngase kufika umoya nje isingavele ihambe in both of these buildings, le ngezansi nale engeke. But against all odds, we are trying our level best that we give what the society actually requires from us as teachers, and try and give the education that is going to make these learners to be better people. Those learners, one learner got 4 A's from this school. In 2021, we got another learner that got 4 A's, and that learner is in UJ doing EE Law. The one that passed last year is in DUT doing computer science, and many others are passing. So you're coming to the school, we feel it is going to change even how we look at things, and obviously change even isimo sesikole sisonke. We would therefore be getting many learners if the school was, looking better than this. But because then the school is looking like this, then we find that parents take learners to other schools. They actually take learners to a very far school at the top there, at Singele High School. It's far. But because learners, others, they don't want to be identified with a school that doesn't look good, then they will actually opt then to go to other schools. But if then the school can actually, the infrastructure can actually change, we are sure that we can actually have the enrollment increasing.
Minister Angie Motshekga visited the school and sent out some words of encouragement to the principal and the staff. She's also said that a new school will be built with better infrastructure.
So with the disaster which has befallen the area, so we're going around assessing where the damage is. And evidence here in your school is here that the school itself was battered. So siyathembisa ke sino emisindo sophinde sibuye principal sibuye no sizo singathola sithola khona kwa national province sizama ukuzolungisa la kulungiseka khona ukuthi nisebenze kahle no teacher. Now when I was a young teacher, I wouldn't want to work in that staff room.
The South African Democratic Teachers Union has launched a flood relief initiative. The union is feeding children and families who have been left destitute following the floods in KwaZulu-Natal and are currently being accommodated at community halls in the province. We visited the head office of SATU in the province to see for ourselves the work that is being done. Here is Nomarashia Kaluza from the union.
This used to be our conference center where we hold big meetings and workshops of SATU, but because we disaster, we've decided we convert into a disaster management house. That side, as you can see, we're busy cooking because we understand ukuthi abantu bakithi balambile njengoba bekulama community halls as displaced people because of the floods. So siyapheka njengoba nje nifika iveni liyalayisha ezansi iveni lesathu we're taking food to Inanda Ward 55 and 105. And there we have so many children and adults, of course, and we are feeding everyone that is there. And then this side we have a Satu shop. Here we decided to anything is nayo in the office siyazidayisa manje at a very cheap price, but the intention ukuthi whatever send esiyitholayo we support the kitchen. It's more about supporting the kitchen. We also ran a campaign which is still on even now, where we're mobilizing members of SADC to donate food, clothing, and blankets, as you can see. So now here, amarice ukudla, I can't be telling you, you can see for yourself. They have this menstruation every month, and we felt that we must also take care of them. We have the nappies there, the toilet paper, then the blankets that side. And on that side, you can see, because we said members must just send whatever, must donate clothing, clothes, and so their clothes, their blankets. We are now taking the blankets. There's a lot of support, I can say, that we are receiving, even from other provinces of SADC. They are now running campaigns. I can tell you that in Free State, there is a provincial conference. I know, as I'm here in Durban, I'm aware of the lot of work that is happening that side by delegates of SADC in the Free State. In Northwest is the same thing. So we're expecting a lot of deliveries coming from the other provinces of SADC, because they are supporting us. In the morning, we received some of the staff there from the national office. So it's something that is growing by day. But what is important is for us is not to keep them here. These things here, we are now working on a plan to take it out to the beneficiaries.
That's how we end this week's bulletin on Channel 122 on OpenView, or on Bricks TV Channel 509 Starset. Before we go, it is important that parents have conversations with their children about floods and the dangers of crossing low-lying areas, rivers and streams. We are also urging that parents have these conversations with their children to avoid further loss of life following the recent floods that we have seen in KZN. Thank you for watching.